The Cowboys OT is brought to you by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and by blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
49-17, the final score from AT&T Stadium in Arlington as the Dallas Cowboys take down the New York Giants 49-17 here in Week 10 of the NFL season. Over 600 yards of total offense and 170 of those yards. Joins us now, Brandon Cooks, live on the air as we are outside the Cowboys locker room. Brandon, first off, congratulations on the win. Secondly, how's it feel to have really a breakout game here in Week 10?
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I mean, it's huge. Just continue to just trust the process. At the end of the day, just be able to contribute and be able to help my team win. I mean, really, that's what it's all about.
And we've got Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback,
Dogs.
Nate Newton. we got all the former players and then the current player here. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Brandon, whenever it comes to a game like this, you said it was coming earlier in the week. You said you just felt like it was building. What finally clicked for you guys today?
I think at the end of the day, just everyone's on point. Dak, to trust in me to be able to let some of those balls go and for me to be able to take advantage of those opportunities. I'm just thankful to be able to be put in those positions to be able to make those plays.
But out of that, so going into this game, what did you see from that defense that lets you know that, man, we can exploit these guys?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is, just what we talk about, making them defend every blade of grass, you know what I mean? So don't get me wrong, those guys can cover, especially those safeties, get side to side, but we just felt in our mind that we can have a lot of explosive plays as long as we continue to play in that timing and rhythm with the quarterback.
Hey, now I've been checking out all the selfless work that you've been putting in. I know you've been putting in a lot of work, opening things up for a lot of other guys. And you can go back to the podcast this week. I told everybody you were going to get a hundo in the first half.
He made a bet on it, too, that includes hot sauce. So if you have anything to do on Friday or don't have anything to do on Friday, come down the hallway. We've got something going on.
No, but I want to talk to you. Obviously, these guys play the most man-to-man out of anybody else in the league. Was that what you saw that you kind of foresaw that you were going to have a good day?
I mean, and that's my mind. Anytime, guys line up man-to-man, that's when you start to lick your chops, right? And like you said, they played the most man-to-man throughout the league more than any team. So when you see that and you turn that on film, that's where you take that, as yourself, like, well, in order for me to get this ball, I got to win.
Absolutely.
Forget scheme or anything else. You go win, you get the ball.
Man-to-man.
So that was my mindset.
Facts.
Brandon, you went through this right here. You said to trust the process. Explain to everybody out there what it means to be selfless like you've been these last few weeks.
I think at the end of the day, when you talk about playing for one another and, having the goals that we want as a team, and that's to win it all, in order to do that, you got to have a selfless team. You know what I mean? So for me, whether that's clearing it out, getting guys open, blocking, whatever the case may be, I'm willing to do, because at the end of the day, that's what matters is win. The name of the game is win, and how it looks, it really don't matter.
All right, is this only the beginning? Is this the beginning of the second half climb for Brandon Cooks?
That's my mindset anytime, right? We're going to continue to trust the process, but when my number's called, I'm going to look forward to stepping up and taking advantage of it.
Well, it was called tonight. Congrats on the win. Congrats on a phenomenal performance. We look forward to seeing it again down the line. Brandon Cooks joining us here on Cowboys OT. When we come back, we take a look at some of the highlights, and we have more post-game reaction from AT&T Stadium next.
This segment is brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys OT rolls on from inside AT&T Stadium in Arlington, where the Dallas Cowboys take down the New York Giants 49-17. Let's reintroduce the crew. Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. It's going to be a little off the rails. We may try and add somebody else coming out of this locker room here in the coming moments. But before we get to that, gentlemen, I want to get your first thoughts on what happened out there on the field tonight.
Well, I think once again, this was a complete game by the Dallas Cowboys. Offensively, like we always say, Dak Prescott was in control of this game. He got all his playmakers involved, from Cooks to Gallup, Dowdle, all of those guys were involved. And defensively, I loved what I seen. They didn't play down to the level of the New York Giants. They stayed where they were. And we talked about red zone in the pregame. They were outstanding in the red zone today. Third down as well. I believe they were 0 of 12. I believe New York was 0 of 12 on third down. And when you win the money down like that, you'll always have a chance to win.
Yeah, this game was all about execution.
Yes.
And coming off of last week against Philadelphia, in order to have a bounce-back game, regardless of your opponent, you need to make sure that you execute. You have to check those boxes that were left unchecked in the previous game, and you have to utilize this game as an opportunity to build momentum. That's what this game was the first step of that. They did a great job. We can go across the board in all phases of the game. They all did a great job.
And, you know, we talked about just having a running game, having a consistent running game, and they kept going at it with Rico Dowdle. They kept going at it with Tony Pollard. They wound up with 32 carries, 169 yards, 5.3 carries. That kept a play-action pass type look, and that helped Terrence Steele tremendously today.
Yes.
And the offense just really was the storyline. And let's take a look at some of the highlights, how this one unfolded. The Cowboys wearing their bicentennial helmets for the third straight year. Dak and company looking for their 12th straight win at home. Early in the first, Dallas on the goal line. Pollard on 4th and goal, can't punch it in. Are these red zone issues still a problem, Barry Church?
Yeah, they seem to be a problem right there. You're on the goal line, right? You got to find a way to punch that ball in.
Now, no points for Dallas, but the defense forces a 3-and-out later in the quarter. Dallas goes to a different player in the red zone, and this one actually intercepted. This is throw ahead to the third quarter for the Cowboys, an interception for Dak Prescott and company. Here's the defensive stop from Dallas and what they brought to the table. And I think for the most part, the Cowboys just rectified some of those issues, finding the back of the end zone. There's Jake Ferguson, and what he brings to the table just continues to grow for this Cowboys team.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson continues to be the good old safety blanket for Dak Prescott. They're going to continue to build their chemistry.
That chemistry continues on. Dak Prescott then finds Brandon Cooks. We just heard from B. Cooks, and, man, he had another phenomenal game, Nate Newton. Dak Prescott, not only was it to Brandon Cooks, was it to Jake Ferguson, but he could take it himself as well.
Hey, look at that, man. Quarterback draw, man. Wasn't nothing open. He made the play.
Yeah, he did. Near side completion for the Giants to start the third quarter. That third quarter completion, certainly something that was the only good thing for the Giants, and the Cowboys weren't done. Dak Prescott drops a dime to Michael Gallup. Gallup in the end zone, his longest reception of the season. Isaiah, you like to see this from MG.
You love to see it, man. You know, two things that Michael Gallup's going to do: run by people and make contested catches. There goes one right there for 70 yards and a touchdown.
70 yards and a touchdown. And then again, Dak Prescott finding C.D. Lamb. Not only did C.D. Lamb have the receiving yards, 150 for his third straight game, Barry Church, but he continues to just put up great numbers in the red zone.
Yeah, this guy seems unguardable. Whether it's in the red zone, in between the 20s, this guy is going to get the ball, and he's going to make defenses pay.
Final stats as the Cowboys put up 640 yards in the offensive side of things, 49 points as well. You needed an outing like that in order to get it done, and certainly the Cowboys did just that at AT&T Stadium. Let's step aside. When we come back, more post-game reaction as the Cowboys improved to 6-3 on the 2023 season, with more Cowboys OT right after this. Cowboys OT from AT&T Stadium here in Arlington. Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We've got Neville Gallimore joining us straight out of a victorious Cowboys locker room. Neville had a big sack in that first half. Congrats on the win. What's it feel like to get back in the winning ways?
Man, it always feels good, man. Just getting that opportunity, you know, to grind it out with the team and just really just show the work that we put in throughout the week and to be able to show that on Sundays. So it's just a cater to what we've done. So it's been fun. It was great. Great win. Obviously, we're looking to stack on that, too.
So with no Daniel Jones, no Darren Waller out there, how big of an emphasis was it defensively to make sure you guys crowded the line and stopped Saquon Barkley this afternoon?
Man, you know, not having those guys, we know obviously what they bring to the table. So I feel like defensively, we just try to take advantage of the opportunity that we had. So, you know, making sure that we communicated, making sure that we were all on the same page. And usually when we do those two things, man, great things happen. So
Got C.D. Lamb giving a little love. It's a little OU love back and forth.
That's the bro right there. You know that.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
No, that's love, man. Hey, so I understand on the defensive line, okay, you guys have your schemes. You guys are running your stunts. You guys have your lane assignments, all those things. But what did you see individually on film that gave you the confidence that you're going to go out there and be a dog tonight?
You know, just really just looking at, you know, how the O-line was set and just seeing things that we discussed, you know, as a D-line, ways that we could make those opportunities, you know, when we get them, obviously. And I feel like that was just kind of an example of what we do. You know what I mean? Again, it's the NFL. You got to take advantage of every opportunity you get. And that's literally what we did. You know, we saw how, you know, basically how to take advantage, run or pass, and see how we could, you know, just get off.
Look at here, man. It's y'all 8-9 deep. Man, what does that mean to be fresh at the end of a game, man?
Man, it feels great. You know, the one thing I always say, I love how competitive our room is, and I also love, like, the brotherhood that we have. So every day, you know, you're getting everyone's best. You know, I can't speak for every other team, but that's the challenge, which is also the opportunity because, you know, the guy next to you, he's going to put great stuff on tape. So it obviously causes you to bring your game to another level. So even when it comes to that, like, we spend a lot of time together, we watch a lot of film together, because ultimately we just want to see each other win.
Yeah.
So I feel like for us, it's kind of what we do. And when we're on the same page, like I said, great things usually happen.
And you looking good. You representing right, man.
Yeah. I'm just trying to put on for the big guys, man.
No doubt.
Got the hot boy chain working again.
Shout out, Law.
Yes, sir.
You might not be able to see it from back there, but there's a little 9-6 right there at the top.
Subtle,
it's fresh.
I love it.
Neville, final thing before we let you go. I mean, it's interesting because being drafted in 2020, you're now the veteran in the room. You and Jonathan Hankins, year number 4. What have you seen from some of these other young guys in that front 7 and how they've continued to grow?
Man, I just see guys that are hungry, man. I see guys that want to get better, and I feel like that's always a great thing to see, you know, especially when it's not just you, but seeing those young guys that they're just trying to find a way to contribute and, you know, to make their mark on a competitive D-line, and I feel like that's great, and I feel like we need that. You know, obviously the veteran guys, the older guys, they set the tone, but to have guys that are chasing that level of greatness, I feel like it makes everyone better. Because, you know, you can't take no days off, because, you know, the guy from your left to right is going to try and do whatever he can. So I feel like even for me, I've grown a lot in that regards, and it's caused me to, it really allowed me to love and appreciate the game that much more, because, you know, you love coming into work, you love seeing those guys, and you just love grinding it out together, and I feel like that's always a great thing.
Yeah, and you definitely show that on the field. You've shown it from training camp all the way through to the end of this, or in the middle of this regular season. We got a long way to go in the regular season.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Neville Gallimore joining us here on Cowboys OT. Thanks so much for taking some time.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Neville.
When we come back here on Cowboys OT, more reaction from the 49-17 win for the Cowboys over the Giants.
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys OT rolls on here from AT&T Stadium. 49-17, the final score as the Cowboys beat the Giants. We've heard from Brandon Cooks. We've heard from Neville Gallimore. Now it's about time we hear from the head coach himself. Here's Mike McCarthy at the podium.
Well, I mean, I just think, you know, obviously with the game plan and just, you know, some of the things they were going through, it was important for us to get out there and be aggressive and jump on them. And I think it, you know, was part of the, you know, the first drive, you know, just being aggressive. But, you know, I thought our defense did a great job taking advantage of the backed up field position, gave us 2 excellent, you know, opportunities to go back down there and score. And then, you know, I mean, our offense versus their defense, I mean, schematically, they do a lot. I mean, it's a challenge, and we were really looking forward to it because, you know, you have to beat those types of defenses, particularly when they try to stress your protections. So, and I thought our guys did a good job of that. Pass protection was a huge emphasis for us this week, and I'm not sure. I don't think we gave up a sack. So, but defensively, they, you know, just swarmed the ball. You know, won the situationals, and, you know, special teams was you know, a whole lot going on there, but decisive win.
Dak and CD continue their hot streak, and they've been playing well. But what was the difference for Brandon Cooks today?
Say it again about Brandon.
What was the difference for Brandon Cooks today?
Oh, I just think, you know, his opportunities came together. So I think, you know, the protection part of it, you know, we're getting to where we need to be. We still have work to do there, you know, going off of last week. And then, you know, we definitely took a step this week. And I think just with that, we're able to, you know, get into the play types that we want to live in. So, and I think you're seeing more of that here the last couple of weeks.
Dallas Morning News. CD's been on a tear the last couple of weeks, set a record today. Just your thoughts about the streak that he's been on? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, it's really cool when you see, you know, CD or you know player just really hit his stride, and you know what's great for the Dallas Cowboys. He's going to be doing that for a long time. So, and I think with Dak, you know, you have a guy that you can grow with. And you know, and not only is it great for those two, but it's good for the whole group. You know, because it raises the standard that everybody has to play to.
Have you seen a difference in Dak since that 49er game in terms of anything?
Not really. I mean, the 49er game was, you know, that was it was disappointing for all of us. So I mean, it wasn't like, you know, it was just one guy. So nobody, you know, walked out of there that day. So, and I think just like anything, this is the National Football League. You get knocked on your ass, and it's not whether you get back up. It's how you get up. And I think our guys have responded.
Elwin Henderson, Gilmore Mirror, Mike, 404 yards passing for Dak, 3 games over 400 yards, franchise record. Talk a little bit about how he just continued to get better and better.
Oh yeah, no, he's all football. I mean, this guy. I mean, he loves everything about it. The training. I think when you look at this game, Sundays are really for free. What he does Monday through Saturday is so impressive, and it's important because we made changes from last year, and these guys have worked hard to do the things that they've been asked to do, and it's nice to see it come together. It's nice to see the success that they're having because they've definitely have put the work in.
Is he seeing it better? Why is he seeing it so well now?
Say again?
Dak, is he seeing it better over the last few weeks?
Well, yeah, I think it's just like anything. I think the harder you work and the more you prepare, and I think you have to give the coaches credit, starting with Brian and Scott Tolzien all the way through Mike Solari. I mean, and I'm really excited about some of our young coaches. But yeah, I just think we're really kind of finding our stride, with the game plans and things like that. And but yeah, he's definitely playing at a high level. But he works at it.
You left City out there to get the record over 150.
Correct.
Why is that important?
How many times are you in a position like that? I'll tell you what, you feel worse as a coach if I would have walked in there and you'd be asking me, why the hell didn't you leave him out there for 9 yards? So, because I've had it happen before. So, I think this league is so competitive. When you are in that position, I think it's the respect that that you should show to the player to accomplish that goal. For that record, wasn't a goal, I guess.
Yeah. Jacob Denimore, the ticket. Mike, what were your thoughts on the effectiveness of the run game today and the play of the offensive line in general?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, those guys just need to continue to play together. So definitely ran the ball better. Had some tough looks. They didn't make it easy. But I thought our guys did a really good job sorting it out. I thought Tony had some tough looks that he, ran hard through. Rico got some clean looks that he attacked. So, we definitely took a step in the right direction.
Mike McCarthy on the podium as we, of course, have the Cowboys take down the New York Giants 49-17. When we come back, we'll hear from Dak Prescott at the podium. Another big-time matchup for Dak, his 3rd straight game over 300 yards. More Cowboys OT right after this. 404 yards through the air for Dak Prescott, 4 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground for QB1. He had another fantastic game, his 3rd straight, over 300 passing yards. Let's hear from QB1 at the podium.
No, I wouldn't say it was tough to focus. I mean, I've talked about it week after week. This is the NFL. Those guys get paid. Those guys hopefully love this game and put the same preparation and work into it. So you've got to, prepare the same way, stay focused the same way, and then go out there and try to handle business. And not only that, it was game 1, right? I mean, obviously they haven't had probably the season they'd look forward to, but that being game 1 until now, there's probably things that, they pictured maybe go better, this and that, yeah, we came in with the same focus as we normally would. Obviously, didn't score on that first drive, but got momentum going. Yeah, we're ready to go. We're ready to play, and we'll continue to do that. As I've talked about, this is about us. This is about us running our own race, and no matter what the score is, the other opponent, what they're going through, what's tough for them, young quarterback, whatever. We're trying to build. We're trying to build and become a better team, and as I've said, show our best performance and best versions of ourselves each week.
Dak Tyler with ESPN, you've outscored them by 72 points this year. Is that unfathomable in some sort of way? It's the most in team history.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's got to be a record, I'm sure. The points that we've put up in 2 games, obviously, and then credit our defense, them holding them to, 17 in 2 games. I mean, hard to do in this league, hard to do against a division opponent, somebody that you see twice. So, yeah, I mean, but that's not something, it's not a goal we went after, not something that we're trying to, make sure we do this. Obviously, we wanted to handle them for the, second time this season, and just happened to be in that manner with that many points, and the defense playing as well as they did. Fortunate circumstances for them, young quarterback, but he made some plays at times, and yeah, so I mean, good for us.
Calvin.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Your thoughts on how you've been playing the last 4 or 5 weeks, especially since after that 49er game?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I go back and talk about, I think about before the 49ers game, going into that game, I felt confident. I felt good about everything that happened. The results just obviously were not there, but in this headspace, being prepared, chemistry of this team, chemistry of the coaching staff, credit them, and I feel like I talk about them every week, and hopefully deservingly, or hopefully I do, and deservingly so, because they're a great group that are giving us everything that we need, staying on us, always making changes when we need them, and they're fun to play for and to play with in that sense and work with. So credit them, but for me, it's just about being comfortable, being free, as we talked about going back to the offseason, the footwork, all the different things that, we worked on. And I just feel like, obviously, at this point, so many games into the season, all that's coming to play, and it just feels more natural, you know what I mean, that we're this far in it, really listening to my feet, believing them, the pass protection, working hand in hand, being able to change up so many protections, guys being dialed, guys outside going and making plays. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb with the streak and the I don't even want to call it a streak because that's who he is. It's just what he's beginning to do week in and week out. It starts with him, but then those other guys understand, and if we're going to get one-on-one opportunities, we're going to do the same thing. And obviously, Brandon had a night tonight. MG, a couple big catches. Yeah, so everything's just really coming together, and that's my point of this is about us. This is about us hitting our peak at the right time and just trying to grow. And we're going to do that. We're going to make sure that doesn't stop. We're not satisfied with this. I can promise you that. I'll have an interception and maybe two or more plays. One should have been an interception that I won't, you know what I mean, get quite the peaceful sleep that I want. We'll be thinking about, but that's where I am. That's where this offense. That's where this team is striving to be our complete best.
John Machota, The Athletic. Why do you think the connection with Brandon Cooks was working so well right from the beginning, in the entire first half, really?
Practice, man. I mean, y'all know me. I always talk about practice, what we put into it, going back to this game plan, going back to early in the week. I told him, say let's put the work in, and it's going to come out. I mean, he's been there for us all year when we've needed him to. There's been games that we've come back and said, could you get him more involved? And yeah, sure, maybe so, right? He's that type of player that deserves those questions when he's not getting those targets or getting those catches. And then little communication that we had throughout this week, and then he had a great week of practice. Some plays were, built and meant up to go for him, and then the others, he went and won. When they would double CD, they would do this or that. He went and beat his man and made it easy for me to throw.
Another phenomenal game for Dak Prescott. What he brought to the table tonight was something that was record-breaking. It's his 4th game with over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. It's a franchise record as we welcome back in Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Nate, I'll start with you on this one. Dak continues to step his game up, but this offense, because of it, starts to click a little bit more and more. It feels like over the last 4 weeks now, this offense continues trending in the right direction.
I want to call him an enhancer, man, because a lot of people like to use that word bus driver. I think if you give Dak the tools that he has, and now we've had 6 weeks, 7 weeks to get him going, this guy knows how to move around. He's back to his old self pre-injury, so post-injury, so he's doing what he has to do. What I'm liking about this kid, he's cool, calm, collective. We had some bad things happen early in the game. He just shook it off and kept going.
Yeah, his resilience, his ability to bounce back and not allow things to snowball, right? He had the interception earlier in the game, and obviously in past years, that might have been something that might have turned into 2 or even 3 interceptions. Today, it was only 1, right? And he learned from that mistake, and he went out there and made good decisions going forward. He found his playmakers, and this is what my thing is. Just imagine how much better Dak's going to be. Even though he's breaking these records and setting these things and throwing 300, 400 yards, multiple touchdowns, imagine how good he's going to be when he actually has an efficient run game behind him. That's what I want everybody to think about.
Yeah, when you look at it, to me, it's consistency from Dak Prescott. If you look at it these past 4 weeks, I want to say it's 12 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. So he's taking care of the football out there. And what I love most is he's going back to that old rookie Dak.
Yeah.
When the Dak that I played with, when you talk about using your legs to your advantage, we see it time and time again, extending plays like you just said. If he needs to extend for his wide receivers to get further open down the field, he's able to do that. If everybody's covered out there, he's not compounding the issue, trying to force it in there. He's using his legs to escape and run for more yardage. We love what we see from Dak Prescott so far this year. Hopefully that consistency continues.
Do you think that was a conversation that happened maybe prior to the bye week? Of course, that game against the Chargers was probably the first we really saw Dak use the legs, use the mobility a little bit more. Do you feel like that might have been an active conversation between him and this offensive staff to say, hey, let me just play football a little bit?
I think that's what the conversation was. It's not necessarily saying, hey, Dak, you got to go out there and use your legs. It was just like, look, this is your offense. You're in command of all of this. We're going to put it on your shoulders, and you do what you think feels best to get this offense going in the right direction. And so far, he's done that. He's taking care of the football. He's using his legs. He's using his weapons on the outside. And if we get this Dak continually throughout the season, the sky's the limit for this offense.
I think he's just settled in to understand that, get back to understanding that moving the chains is moving your team in the right direction. I think, some of the issues that he's had in the past was trying to make that big play all the time and not being willing to take a sack, not being willing to just pull it down or throw it away. Now he's starting to make those decisions, and then guess what? He's working his way down the field. You talk about him utilizing his legs to extend plays and give his receivers a chance to get open, or getting out the pocket, utilizing his legs and then crossing the line of scrimmage and getting what he can and getting down or getting out. That is all the maturity and the smart play from Dak Prescott to be able to put his team in the best position possible.
I can't even add to that, man. Dak, just continue being yourself, play with great confidence, be the leader that we know you are, and things will work out in the end.
Isaiah, you talked about an efficient run game. You talked about what they were able to bring to the table on the ground. They finished with 168 yards on the ground. Rico Dowdle was phenomenal in this one, and what they brought to the table there was just chunk yardage. So did you like what you saw from Rico Dowdle and Tony Pollard?
I love what I saw out of Rico Dowdle. I can't remember exactly what his stats were. I think he was around 77 yards or somewhere around there. But I love how they utilize him alongside Tony Pollard. Obviously with Tony Pollard getting the franchise tag, there's a huge expectation that comes with that. And they have been trying to force him into a role where he just has to be the all, come all, do all type back. That's not him. That might be what you want him to be, but I think they finally realized today that, guess what? He is a great complementary back. There's nothing wrong with that. Give him what he's able to handle, and then you'll get these type of results. He didn't do a lot stat-wise, but the combination between the two of them, you see exactly what it looks like in the stat line.
And just for clarification purposes, you're not saying bench Tony Pollard.
No.
You're saying use both of them adequately.
Yeah, complimentary. Listen, the reason why you franchise tagged him is because of the splash plays he made off of being a second tier, a second guy, right? Obviously Zeke was the bearer of a majority of the carries, but then when he came in, he was a change of pace. Rico Dowdle possesses that same ability. He's a battle ram, right? He's going to come downhill. He's going to bust you in the head. He's going to fall forward. He's going to carry guys with you. And then guess what? Tony Pollard's that 1-2 punch. It doesn't matter how much he's getting paid. It doesn't matter that he's franchise tag. It's about putting him in position to be the most impactful on this team, and that's how you have to utilize him.
Got to find a way to get it done because that run game really opens everything up for this offense as we go along. As we go along, we've got more post-game locker room, and we've got more to hear from with this Cowboys win. 49-17, Cowboys OT continues in a matter of moments. In order for the Cowboys offense to have as much success as they did here in their Week 10 win over the New York Giants, they needed some blocking up front. They got some from the second-year player Tyler Smith. He spoke to the media after the win.
I don't say favorite. You guys aren't paying attention. This guy's coming off as undrafted free agent, like quarterback for them and all that. What's the mentality on that game to make sure that you don't let up, you don't have a big, we're in this game when we shouldn't be explosively?
I mean, it doesn't matter to us what they got going on over there. In this building, we know every time we show out each week, it's going to be on us. It's us versus us. We're playing to our standard. We're not playing to the level of our competition. So just continuing to, just keep the mission in perspective for us is what we're trying to do. At the end of the day, we want to go to a Super Bowl, and it starts with going 1-0 every single week. So regardless of who the opponent is and what they're going through, that's just something that, we do a good job of harping on for sure.
I know you focus on the game, but the patriotic stuff before the game, do you ever get caught up in that? And then the veterans on the field?
I mean, that was huge. It was a very beautiful moment. I shook the former president's hand. That's something that's crazy. I thought to myself, I was like, man, did you ever imagine yourself doing that one day? And so that was just an extremely cool moment for me, for my teammates for sure. And so, it was beautiful. Thank them for their service for sure. I got vets in my family. I'm extremely appreciative of all the sacrifices they made so that, I can continue to enjoy my freedom. So that's huge for sure.
was it just a handshake?
Man, he called me a big guy. That's all I really. He was like, "Hey, man, so you're the big guy, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm one of them, I guess." Yeah. And then I had to lock back in. I can't be tripping out for a long time. So yeah, it was cool.
You can't get starstruck.
Yeah, I gotta get starstruck in the moment. I was just like, yeah, I'm a big guy. Then I had to focus on a coin flip, making sure I know where we got to defer. So it was cool.
Did you anticipate that you guys would have the running success?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, it was something that we wanted to harp on. And I say that because. We know how hard our backs work for us, whether it be in protection, when they're not getting the ball. And, we understand that in order to bring out the best in our offense, we have to do things well, complementary passing and running. So we definitely expected that, and I'm just glad at how we came together and were able to accomplish that.
Yeah, Tony's pass blocking ability is really good.
Oh, yeah.
Does that almost motivate you guys, man? We got to get these guys.
Absolutely. There have been a couple of times this season where Tony has had some play-saving blocks, and it's selfless stuff. It's him really putting his body on the line for us. And so just getting him the production that we know that he can get is huge for us, and it's something that we want to continue to get better on every week.
You love to hear that, Nate Newton, because you've been waiting for this offensive line to put together a phenomenal performance. You mentioned it right up at the top of the show. 0 sacks allowed by this offensive line. That's got to be something that you can build on as the season goes on.
And the thing about it, man, we talked about it. Tony Pollard helped with this protection. The tight ends helped with the play. It wasn't just the O-line. Everybody played their part, man. Not a lot of pressures this game. Dak even helped us, man, by using his legs, getting out, doing what he has to do. Sacks and pressures are not just on the O-line. Yep. It's on everybody, even the coaches to put you in position to pick up the stunts in the game. But, hey, this game was complete, and these guys did a great job.
You don't throw for 400 yards unless you are fully comfortable sitting back in the pocket and delivering the rock. There is nobody around him, and that is a testament to everybody who has a role in this pass protection. Not only being able to understand what your assignments are, but being able to identify where guys are, make the corrections, make the nonverbal communications, and be where you're supposed to be, and then execute. And that's exactly what this complete offense did today.
Look, guys, if we're being honest, man, if this offensive line is able to play this way consistently throughout the remainder of this season, and you talk about those weapons that they have on the outside, if they're able to keep Dak Prescott up for the majority of the game like they were today, I don't see a defense out there stopping them, because you can't lock down these receivers one-on-one. You put a lot of pressure on CeeDee Lamb, you see what we can do with Cooks. You put pressure on Cooks, Ferguson's right there. The running game is coming alive. If this offensive line can stay tight like they are right now, playing as a unit, man, I just don't see anybody in the league that can stop this offense right now.
Now I'm going to ask you the $100 million question. Do you feel like they can do that as the season goes along?
Wow, that's a $1 million question right there, and I'm going to give you an answer. I do feel like they can do that if they remain healthy. And we've seen throughout this season, we have a lot of ups and downs. Guys tend to get injured here and there. But if they're able to remain healthy and play like the way they have been, yes, they can do that for the remainder of this season.
I think they can. The reason being, it was going to take a little bit of time for this offense to start catching on, catching traction. You got Coach McCarthy that comes in, and obviously he was already here, but he instills his system. And from that standpoint, everybody else has to learn. They have to get adapted. They have to figure out each other. Right? Offensive line was not complete in terms of them being together in the preseason, not being together in training camp. And now all of a sudden, you get the first half of your season underway. You start figuring that out. You go into the bye week. You make some corrections, and then you come out lighting up the scoreboard week in and week out. As they continue to figure out that run game, this team's going to become more and more dangerous offensively.
I agree. If that run game grows, I think they'll be okay. But Mike Solari, he's the offensive line coach. He's been around forever. He's been in college. He's been in the pros. He knows how to connect with these players, and he's got a lot of energy, and that energy flows over to his players. And he loves making corrections. When you see them come to the sideline, the first thing they do is get to the bench, start saying, hey, this is the lineup. This is what we see. And they start talking about it and breaking it down and trying to, execute the next set of plays.
Yeah, you got to find a way to stack wins on top of another. They've got one here. They took care of business here at AT&T Stadium. Now you move on. You try and continue to stack wins, stack good performances. They'll have to do so next week against Carolina. When we come back, we get more post-game reaction. We haven't talked really any defense to this point. They had a great day as well. Let's talk to the defensive side. Barry Church has been chomping at the bit to talk about the defensive end when we come back with more Cowboys OT. Cowboys OT from AT&T Stadium with Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us. Cowboys take down the Giants 49-17. 49-17. It was really up until the final couple drives of the Cowboys defense had a big-time day. The sacks, the yardage, I mean, it really wasn't there for the Giants from the jump. Now, we do have to put a disclaimer out there. It was Tommy DeVito.
This is true.
It wasn't Daniel Jones. Saquon Barkley was limited, but for the most part, what did you think about how the defense performed in this one?
No, I feel like they played outstanding. Like we talked about a little bit earlier, they didn't play down to the level of the Giants. They kept the standard high on all three levels of the defense. And a nice wrinkle I liked from Dan Quinn throughout this game was Rashad Evans getting placed into that linebacker role, in the nickel role. I think that going forward may be the answer going forward for this defense, because even though Marquise Bell has played outstanding, he's more of a pass down situation guy when you talk about the linebacker position. And when you get against those physical teams, you want a thumper in there at that linebacker spot that can go ahead and get downhill on these running backs. So I love that little wrinkle Dan Quinn threw over there. But overall, I think this team played outstanding. Once again, Deron Bland with another interception. That puts him at 5 for the season right now. This guy is playing outstanding. And overall, this defense, once again, a complete performance.
These guys, the Giants, went 0 for 12. 0 for 12 on third down. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
The fact that you're able to negate a team from being able to get 1 first down out of 12, not 10%, not 5%, 0% efficiency on third down. That is a testament to everybody who played a role. We talked about some of the schemes that Dan Quinn went ahead and instilled this week, obviously by putting Marquise Bell in there only on really third down and passing situations and utilizing his speeds and his assets. But these guys, Rashad Evans stepping up there and obviously playing a role. He hadn't touched the field since last year, really, so kudos to him. These guys are playing, and we had opportunity to talk to Gallimore earlier, and you guys heard how excited he was about just how competitive these rooms are on the defensive side of the ball.
Hey, Dave, excuse me, I'm sorry. Hey, look here, fellas. We stopped Saquon Barkley. I think he had one run of over 15 yards.
Yeah.
When you do that right there, you're playing great, man. This is what I like about these guys, man. No matter now, since that Eagle game, and even during that Eagle game, it don't matter who they play now. These guys are out there hunting. We've stopped the run, 4 times in 4 weeks, so they're doing a tremendous job. Excuse me for hesitating there.
There were some trucks driving by. We almost had to get flattened in the process. I mean, that's what it is. Close quarters down here, but we're making it happen. Final stats here from the defense and what they brought to the table. 5 sacks on the board, 7 quarterback hits. Tommy DeVito was running for his life throughout the game.
Oh, pretty much. I mean, and that's what you expected. You're talking about a rookie quarterback making his first start against one of the dominating defenses in the National Football League. And when we talked to Neville Gallimore, he just said it like everyone else said. They were all hungry. They wanted to hunt out there, and they didn't want to be that last man standing or that last man out without making a play. And we saw that everybody on this defense contributed, and that's what you need to have a dominating defense.
You could put DeVito, Dorito, anybody else. It doesn't matter.
Tostito,
Danny DeVito, it don't matter.
Listen, it doesn't matter. The way that this defense is starting to play, you're starting to see the pressures, right? You're not necessarily seeing the results of sacks all the time, but you're seeing these guys haul tail and put pressure on these quarterbacks. And whenever quarterbacks are under pressure, they're under duress, these guys are not going to be able to set their feet. They're not going to be able to deliver an effective and efficient pass. You're going to have a lot of opportunities for your defensive backs to go out there and get some tips, overthrows, and interceptions as well.
So with that being said, the Cowboys have taken down the Giants here in Week 10. That's the first box checked on what is a winnable month of football for the NFL, or through this middle of the NFL season for the Dallas Cowboys. When we come back, we talk about the Carolina Panthers, what they could bring to the table, and how the Cowboys can continue to keep their minds right going into this part of the schedule to come out on top with some wins. 49-17, the Cowboys on top of the Giants. More Cowboys OT right after this.
The Cowboys OT was brought to you by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and by blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
We leave you with final stats as the Dallas Cowboys take down the New York Giants 49-17, over 640 yards of total offense, and they held the Giants to under 175. It was a complete game from the Cowboys on all 3 phases: offense, defense, special teams, and the Cowboys are at 6-3 on the NFL season. As we wrap up Cowboys OT from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, we've got Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us. Now, before we wrap things up, we've got to talk about this stretch. This is a winnable stretch of games for the Cowboys. It started this week with New York. Check. There's the first one out of the way. Then you've got Carolina next week, followed by Washington on Thanksgiving, and then a Thursday night matchup, which, by the way, we'll be back out here at AT&T Stadium on that Thursday night against the Seattle Seahawks. But at home, this home field advantage has been phenomenal. How do the Cowboys keep their minds right and take care of business in all these games this month?
They've got to take care of business. Like you just said, they got to get Carolina, they got to get Washington, and I believe they have to get the Seattle game, not only to keep pace with Philadelphia or maybe even pass them up, because if you look at that stretch run that Philadelphia has coming up, they got a gauntlet as well. This may be an opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys to take over first place in the NFC East, and we see what type of advantage they have at home. What is it, 11
now? Yeah.
12 straight games. This has become a real home field advantage for the Dallas Cowboys. So these next 3 games are extremely important in order to get that accomplished.
Listen up. You have some real opportunities this week to get some wins in the column, right?
Yeah.
And the reality is you can't look past any team. They didn't look past the Giants today. They learned their lesson earlier in the year against the Cardinals, but you have to take it week by week, right? As much as you want to look forward and say, hey, what position can we be in by the time we face Philly again? You can't do it. Put your blinders on. Go out here. You just took care of business against the Giants. Now go out there and take care of business against the Carolina Panthers. And once you do that, then you continue to execute. Continue to find things that you can get better at. They did an amazing job today across the board, except for one category. They still had too many penalties. 9 penalties, 83 yards. All right, that's something that they can correct. That's something they can circle up and say, hey, fellas, let's cut back on this. Let's still remain effective and efficient on offense and defense and special teams. But let's just go ahead and trim the fat on that, and let's see how much better we can play.
I agree with you, Isaiah. You have to look within yourself to find out a little thing every week that you can work on, something that will get you upset and get you going. These teams you're going to play is not physically gifted the way you are. Now it's going to come down to the mental game. Are you tough? Can you handle that adversity? That is what's that has hurt us over the big games, the Phillies and the 49ers. Wait, what happens when we run up against these Redskins? Washington Commanders, you know, and they got these 2 Bama boys in the middle, and things get hard. That's where you got to just start chopping down the tree a little bit at a time, take the game and run this table.
Hey, Nate's done plenty of battles with Washington over the years. We'll let him have one slip up this season. Just can't do it on game day. That's all that matters. All that matters. All right, before we wrap things up, Nate, I'll start with you. I don't want to ask of who wants to step up their game going into Carolina, but who wants to have the biggest repeat performance? Who do you want to see repeat what they did tonight?
We got to run. I mean, these 2 guys talk about it. You talk about they got to run the ball. They got to run the ball, and it's got to be around about 4.9 or better on the average.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Brandon Cooks. I think Brandon Cooks, him balling out like he did today, and it doesn't have to be that crazy, right? He went 170 yards. That's absolute madness. But if I can get Brandon Cooks to be over 75, 80 yards a game, imagine what that's going to do to the defense and how they're going to have to change their approach to how they want to defend CeeDee Lamb. Brandon Cooks, again, go back in his history, 6 1,000-yard seasons.
Consistent.
This is a guy. He is a dude, and you saw exactly tonight what he's capable of. They just haven't necessarily put him in position to do so. So if they can get that out of him going forward, they'll free up a lot of things in his offense.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with both of you guys. They got to get this ground game going with Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle. They've got to make sure they get Cooks involved. We see what he can do as a player out there on the field when you throw the football his way. But for me, I'm going to the coaching staff. We saw it last week. The in-game adjustments weren't being made out there. They left guys on an island out there. So for me, they've got to make sure they continue to make those adjustments, make sure they help out their players where need be, and everything should work out in the long run.
Mike McCarthy always talks about it. He talks about complementary football, making sure all 3 phases get the job done. They did that tonight against the New York Giants. Again, the Cowboys and the Carolina Panthers coming up next week. We'll have this one from the Star in Frisco because the Cowboys hit the road again. They'll go to the East Coast to take on the Panthers. First overall pick, Bryce Young at quarterback. That's a desperate team as well. We'll see how that one turns out. For Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Special thanks to everybody who made this happen from AT&T Stadium. The Cowboys get the win.